Who? Aha. There we go. Right. Yep. Technically, it's not quite the last day of campaigning. Wednesday is 9 minutes away. But for all intents and purposes, it's Wednesday before the reverb goes. There we go. Yeah, I've got one to as you've not came up in my multi-stream chat spec. Odd. So there we go. I'm going to have to come back and check here every few minutes to make sure that I'm not missing anyone in my. Right, shall we? I've got 163 subscribers. What the fuck? I didn't bloody realise that. Work away, my dear. I will be here. Right, shall we? Oh no, there you go. What people? Rejoice, comrades. Big Jerry. Ah, hey, Big Jerry. I've still got that link in my get the day. Yeah. Yeah. Giving you, giving you. Here we go. Oh, that's what I can do. I can bring up my Twitch chat on the chocolate covered pretzels. Nope. Oh, I've still going. We watched it. Holy fuck. Manager. Ah, 511 followers. I'm getting there, chat. I'm getting there. There we go. There's my stream manager. You look after yourself, Lisa. Rejoice, comrades. Davinia Robbins in the chat. Do not, I repeat, do not give yourself toothache, my dear. I beg of you. Thank you. I am telling no more. It is up to Davinia what that was about. Are you eating them right now? I'll say again, try not to get toothache. Okay, this was, oh my god. So, Sunday, so this is Sunday. This is from Sunday. So this just happened a few days ago. Reform candidate quits party just days before Scottish election. 9 chat, 9. Oh, let's see if I can bring it closer. But still keep it far enough away so you're not getting annoyed by the fan. Oi, oi. Would that be better? There we go. Cool. Phone control there. Excuse me. Right. Oh, this is by Alistair. Right. A Reform candidate has quit the party just days before the Scottish parliamentary elections as he blasts its leadership for not supporting those who go off script. Seems to be happening to a lot of them. Delicious. Well, Jill, I will show that recipe to the super hubby, and he can make them as like a dessert. So the counts for England, so the ones south of the border, they're getting done on Thursday night. So polls close 10 p.m. as usual, and they're getting counted through the night. So probably by the time yours get finished up, our first results will be coming in. Our counting doesn't start until 9 a.m. Friday morning. Mark it in your diaries using pencil so you can rub it out. Reform's candidate for East Kilbride in Strathen, I repeat Strathen, because we don't pronounce anything correctly because it's Scottish. Dr. Tim Kelly has said he will now stand as an independent as he becomes the party's ninth, I repeat ninth, candidate to either quit or be removed during this Holyrood campaign. Calorie dense. Fuck that, it doesn't really matter to me. Got to freeze the eggs first for at least 4 hours, then freeze the dough for eggs for at least an hour before they go in the oven. No problem. Thank you, my dear. Dr. Kelly said in a statement that support quietly disappears. I will let you know how they turn out. Dr. Kelly said in a statement that support quietly disappears from the party when candidates go step off script to offer actual substance. Actual substance from Reform candidates. Citation needed. He added that Reform Holyrood hopefuls are told across the board to get off social media and churn out leaflets. Basically, don't go onto Twitter. It's Twitter. I don't care what Elon says. Like, get off Twitter, Blue Sky, Threads, whatever, YouTube, fucking going into the news, whatever, talking to journalists. They're not meant to be doing that. They're just meant to be going out and canvassing and shoving leaflets in people's faces. We haven't seen one of them, I repeat, one of them, here in this constituency because we just fucking laugh at them. He stood zero chance of getting East Kilbride and Strathern anyway. That's a toss-up between SNP and Labour. I don't know why they were running in that. I don't know why they're running in lots of the constituencies. They're going to lose their fucking deposit. Mind you, if you've got a £5 million donation from someone, losing a £500 deposit in 73 constituencies isn't really a problem for you. Give me a minute. Let's just see how much that actually is. Calculator. £500 deposit times 73 constituencies. So 36,500. So what's 36,500 to Manfrog? Couple of suits? Something like that? Yeah, not much when you get millions. Yeah. Not that Keir Starmer has to worry about that. He gets his suits bought for him. Yeah, really must be nice. Yeah. We won £23 on the Euro Millions tonight. I've got the ticket now. It's in my phone case. They'll have to fight me for it. That's much better. I don't know what was happening the other night when I was streaming. My arse kept on going numb. I fixed something about my chair. My arse isn't going numb, so I'm quite comfy. Rejoice. Good thing. Yeah. Better than a kick in the teeth. For more on what getting kicked in the teeth tastes like, speak to Keir on Friday or Saturday up here. Speak to Anas up here on Saturday. Or speak to Keir on Friday at some point. They'll tell you what it's like to get kicked in the teeth. Electorally. How much for the 500 deposits for the constituencies? How much did I win? £23. Nice one. £23. Woohoo! Bollocks. In his resignation letter posted on social media, can I make this shit up? Dr. Kelly wrote, "I've decided to leave Reform UK and continue my campaign in East Kilbride and Strathern as an independent. The promise of this movement was that we were not career politicians." Your leader up here is a career politician. Well, he's career merchant banker and former Tory donor and now Reform donor or Reform candidate running in Inverclyde. Manfrog is a career fucking politician. He was an MEP for fuck's sake. So is Jenrick. And not an MEP but a career politician. Cruella. Who else have we got? Gavin Rossendale. Dirty P. Lee. Tice, career businessman. And now, well, technically we can't call him a career politician, but business bell end. The promise of this movement was that we were not career politicians. 50p Lee now with inflation. That's fun. I like that one. Yet the moment you step off script to to offer actual substance, the support quietly disappears. Across the board, candidates are told to get off social media and turn out leaflets. I recognise this infantilising instinct. Yeah. Did you not know what party you were joining? Free fucking Joyce. I'm eating Big Styly. Rejoice, comrades. Jim speak in the chat. Hello, mod extraordinaire. I watched it silence an entire profession when doctors who questioned the COVID response were told to get back in line or lose their careers because you were going against what was essentially science-based information that we were given during the pandemic. He added, reform has some good policies, do they bollocks? But the problems facing this country are not, at root, problems of policy, they are problems of abandoned principle. They reach into our food, our medicine, our very institutions we're supposed to trust. We're told you have to play the Westminster game first and tackle these problems later. That is the trap. Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong, there's people who went into politics who got voted into the House of Commons or up here in Holyrood or in the Senate or over in Stormont. Over there. Yeah, over there. Who wanted to make it better for their constituents, to be a bulwark for their community, to represent them and shit. But the minute they get into politics and into these different places, especially Westminster, according to some people in the SNP who have now left politics, they know that place is fucking toxic, and I'm getting out before it completely destroys my mental health. Kind of direct quote from Mary Black there. Yeah, she described what the toxicity was like. You are amazing in the place, Mary, don't get me wrong, but yeah, if it's that bad, just fucking get out. He was the one that got rid of Douglas Alexander for us, even though he's fucking back. They right bastards. He said he would serve as an independent MSP if he wins the East Kilbride and Strathern seat. Doubtful. Sorry, Dr. Kelly, that's not going to fucking happen. Unless you've got a good local following, if you're from the area, you're probably not going to win. Yeah. Despite standing as a Reform UK candidate on the ballot, so literally on the ballot paper that the people of East Kilbride and Strathern will be handed to them on Thursday, it will say Dr. Tim Kelly, Reform UK, even though he's an independent, because getting the ballot changed 5 days before the fucking vote, kinda difficult. Just saying. In the 2 weeks after first announcing their 73 constituency candidates on the 19th of March, 9 days after my birthday, Reform UK lost 5 hopefuls. So within the first fucking week, everyone. First fortnight. So that's 2.5 candidates, which is, nah. Former Tory councillor. Wow, a former Tory. She could probably be described as a career politician if she was a Tory councillor. Former Tory councillor Linda Holt. Rejoice, comrades. Talia Button in the chat. Linda Holt resigned over a lack of support from the party amid reports she made racist comments about former First Minister Hamza Yusuf. Great, she's an Islamophobe. Leading her partner, James Glenn, to also quit. So that was two in one foul swoop. Don't be racist, fucks. There's an idea for yous. Mid-Fife and Glen Rothes candidate Roland Jackson withdrew, saying he had never intended to stand for family reasons. But his name was published prematurely in error. Guesses in the chat why he really stood down. And they literally just put him forward because they had no one else to stand in Mid-Fife and Glen Rothes. I can see Reform fucking doing that. Aberdeen Central candidate Jordan Brown also resigned after telling the media that he had never actually been the candidate. Alright? We will be going on to this one next. And Dundee City West candidate Stuart Niven was suspended after allegations of financial misconduct linked to COVID support loan. Another one of them. Just one day after he was announced as the party's candidate. Why are you running in Dundee at all, any of the seats there? Dundee is an SNP stronghold, has been... No, but has it been since Holyrood started? I can't remember. Kevraid. Kevraid? Where Kevraid? On YouTube. Kevraid on YouTube. Oi oi, Brummy comrade. Hello, imagination scene. Hi, Andy, by the way. Rejoice, comrades. Andrew Luke in the chat. Hello, imagination scene. Welcome in. And Mars, good evening. Yay, yay, yay. Welcome in, everyone, welcome in. Mad Scottish Marxist here, as you all know. I don't think I really need to introduce myself. I think all of you know who I am. It's your friendly Scottish Marxist. Okay, and Dundee City West candidate Stuart Niven was suspended after allegations of financial misconduct linked to a COVID support loan, just one day after he was announced as the candidate. Seriously, why are you running in Dundee? You ain't gonna fucking get in there. Trust me on that. I know I've got friends who live in Dundee. My niblet has friends who live there. I have literally talked to these people. Would yous have ever voted Reform? Are you fucking mad? So my niblet, one of my niblet's friends, has been WhatsApping me just to keep me updated on what's happening in Dundee, City of Discovery. But yeah, we've seen them about and stuff, and we just go up and sort of ridicule them, just sort of laugh at the idiots. Well done, lass. So this is her. She's in her. Holy fucking hell! I wasn't fucking expect that. No, an alert happened, and it gave me a. It's called a flig. up here, so it gave me a scare of fright. You blame the printers. I need to get a printer. Where the fuck would I? Well, I suppose it could go in one of the bookcases. In Dundee, they don't stand a fucking chance. I will say again, Dundee, SNP stronghold, has been for nearly 2 decades. Both Holyrood and Westminster. Yeah, it's one of the places they might lose their deposit in. They're definitely going to lose their deposit here in this constituency. This part of Glasgow does not vote right wing in any sort of fashion. So Audrey Dempsey, I think. I can't remember the woman's name. I can see a picture of her, like in my head. There is places in Scotland that do not vote right wing. They will literally lose their £500 deposit. I buy £500. But with people donating millions to the party, I don't think they'll notice losing 500 quid. Or a few 500 quids. I don't know. What was that alert? That gave me such a fucking fright. Huh. I think so, I like that one. Huh. Did it happen here? Give me a minute. Huh. Oh, indefinite article. Welcome in. How many people have I got here? Fucking hell, I've got 35 people. Hello, you 35 fucking legends. Oh, that's better. My heart has stopped racing. A further 3 were revealed to have dropped out after councils published their official list of candidates, so it's up to the councils in whatever fucking part of the country. So here, it would be Glasgow City Council, and up in my home city, it's Perth Kinross Council. So they'll print the list. So the one in Glasgow is obviously the biggest one, because larger city, and lots of constituencies here in Glasgow. A Reform spokesperson said Dr. Tim Kelly has made a personal decision that reflects his own priorities, not those of Reform UK. Voters deserve clarity and consistency. You ain't gonna get that from Reform, everyone. Trust me. They will get ones up the west coast, so Southern Caithness and Southern Inverness, up there, right at the top. They usually get the ones in the Northern Isles, so Orkney and Shetland. They're usually quite competitive in the Western Isles and the Highland of Shire, which is the Western Isles, the grouping of some of the Outer Hebrides there. And they're also quite competitive in a few of the constituencies in the capital. So they're competitive in about, like, they're polling really well in 3 of the ones in Edinburgh, which is no surprise really, because that's where Christine Jardine is. Her constituencies in Edinburgh. I do not like the woman. She can fuck off. Voters deserve clarity and consistency, which they won't get from independents pursuing personal agendas. Nigel Farage. I will not impugn the name of the man. Fucking hell, just no. No. Let's see, where is that embedded story? Oh, yeah. Rejoice, comrades, Omaha, they can't answer. Good evening, Omaha. Welcome in. How are you doing, comrade? We're going through a few news stories in the National. Oh God, I can do it now. Last day of campaigning. It is going to be mental today, all over Scotland. Thank you, Omaha. I still have hope. There's the man. There is the man. Frame drop. Oh, it's the, all right. Saying that my microphone didn't have a signal because I hadn't plugged it in properly. Leftist tech, everyone. It is real, and it's usually the leftists' fault. At least in my case, anyway. Refreshment before I read. I have finished the diluting lemon. We have moved on to summer fruits. It'd be tasty. Let's read what's in it actually. Extra concentrated, no added sugar, apple, strawberry, cherry, and raspberry juice with added sweeteners. And dilute to taste. Apparently, it is 1 part of the diluting juice to 20 parts H2O. That is incorrect. So this is quadruple strength, apparently. I like my juice quite strong. He likes it crazy. So whatever I put in, he doubles up. Try not to do that with certain types of diluting juice. With some of them, you literally get backed up, as it were. Or for some of the other ones, it depends on what juice it is that they're using. They need to find the preservatives and stuff. You either get backed up, or you can't stop. No! No doom scrolling. Bad, Omaha. Bad. Please, please, comrades, friends, try not to do doom scrolling. Like, I go through shorts to find new people to follow. Like, give me a minute. Where is he? YouTube. May as well bring it up anyway. I'm going on to Dr. Philippa Whitford getting interviewed after I've read a few stories. Because, obviously, I fucking miss her. I want her back in Westminster. I really do. Oh, there he's there. Fuck it. Let's watch it. Ah, fucking numpty.
Reform, you won't have any migrant detention centres in your area. So, if reform gets in everywhere, doesn't that imply that they won't build any at all? After all, they guarantee that reform voters won't have this. And second, if you're going to be setting up detention centres, surely you'd set them up in...
Where do these UK parties stand?
Reform UK says if they get into power, they will build migrant detention centres specifically in areas that vote Green. They've promised that if you vote Reform, you won't have any migrant detention centres in your area. So, if Reform gets in everywhere, doesn't that imply that they won't build any at all? After all, they guarantee that Reform voters won't have this. And second, if you're going to be setting...
Correct. Sly Loris. Rejoice, comrades. Sly Loris in the chat. Yeah, yeah, whoever came up with that. Hall of shame. Like lots and lots of people across the globe have addictive personalities. And yeah, doom scrolling is just. Please, I beg of you, try not to do it. I'll be a benevolent world dictator. You'll have to fight me for it, or we'll both have to fight Super Hubby. Because he's apparently going to be the benevolent dictator of planet Earth. Sounds all a bit 40k to me. I know exactly what kind of man he is. Yeah.
Up detention centres, surely you'd set them up in locations that make the most sense logistically and financially. For a party and a supporter base that complain so much about wasteful government spending, it's incredible to me that they're perfectly happy to oversee their own wasteful spending just to spite some people who didn't vote for them. Regardless of what you think of the migrant situation, I think this should be honestly disturbing to anyone who respects the democratic process. Parties shouldn't be trying to coerce areas against voting for other parties like this by punishing voters that didn't vote for them. It's like Trump in America withholding aid for disasters in Democrat states because they didn't vote for him. We really don't want to be America right now. Also, voting for a party in the first place doesn't mean that you're volunteering your community to host specific state infrastructure. That's not how representative democracy works. I'm sure the usual gaslighters will be all over this video saying, but what's wrong with this? Thought the left liked immigration or something to that effect. When policies start being designed not around solving problems but owning the opposition, it really makes me worry about the road we're driving down as a country. Reform UK says if they get into power, they will build migrant detention centres specifically in areas that vote Green. They've promised.
See, look, me scrolling one day about, Christmassy time, I found Thomas, and I thought, this guy is fucking amazing. So I scroll through the YouTube shorts. So I'm on it and stuff. The last time I went on it was fucking Easter time. Like for myself personally going on it. I went on to it for some content a couple of weeks ago, I think. Like I'm following John the Brazen, who's running for council in Bradford. Everyone in Bingley, if you can hear me, vote Green on Thursday so we can get in an actual comrade and friend. That'd be fucking awesome. Oh dear. SNP will win Holyrood election but fall short of majority. Good fortune to John the Brazen. You don't dox yourself, Loris. Literally don't. Whereabouts are you? Hello, Mr. E. Evening, folks. Just eat fruit and drink Kunsel juice, which is what I'm doing, drinking Kunsel juice. I do not have any fruit as of yet. I have eaten all my fruit, so starfruit and a passion fruit that I put into like muffins, and apples. I love apples. He likes oranges and like tangerines and shit. But I am drinking Kunsel juice. Southwest Greater London. I see that the Greens might actually mop up in that there London. No, like actually get overall control of councils and shit. Oh, and good luck to Zoe Garbett. Don't get me wrong, I like Sadiq. Still Labour, don't get me wrong, still Labour. But he is one of the better Labour people. Doing well for London. Carry on, Sadiq, I guess. So technically, John's my home city or hometown's MSP. So he's so up in Perth, where I am from, he is the constituency MSP. And Murdo Fraser's running against him yet again because he doesn't know when he fucking quit. You're going to lose again, Murdo, you fucking idiot. I don't know why you keep on trying. He gets his deposit back, but he's nowhere near close to getting John, to unseating John. Just give up, Murdo, for fuck's sake, man. No. Loris. Go loony. Go loony. Anything that can make those absolute fucking legends keep their deposits. But vote loony. Or if you want, yeah, hold your nose and vote for a Lib Dem. Better than Labour or Scum or Reform, I guess. If you've got a Reform idiot standing in your ward. Mm. The SNP are set to comfortably win the Holyrood election, but will fall well short of a majority a new poll has suggested. Bollocks. Hang on a little look this. Oh, right. Oh, yeah, 3. You get 3, don't you? 2 loony and 1 Lib Dem. Ah, I looked at the map. Thank you. Rejoice, comrades. It's the Morton. Nerd. How's it going tonight, Morton? Thank you for that, by the way, comrade. That is really quite cool. I love interactive maps. They're really fucking awesome. Look, it's the National, Morton. The SNP are set to comfortably win the Holyrood election, but will fall well short of a majority a new poll has suggested. Are you going away to walk your doggo? I hope it is nice weather and it's not Pissenden. Or that it's not too cold. I say that up here in Scotland, it is currently 12 degrees. A bit warm for this time of year, and especially at this time of night. Just saying. Vote for Raving Looney in protest of the rest of them. Yeah. I think a lot of people might be doing that across the country. Northstat, oh god, it's Northstat. Northstat for the Sunday Times puts the SNP on 36, up 2 points, at the constituency level, which is quite decent, I guess. See projections by top pollster, the Professor, for the SNP on returning 57. Oh, ouch. And none on the regional because the SNP would. That's quite a lot of the constituency seats. There's 73 of them, which would see the party miss the target of 65. So you need to get the 65. That's the majority to take control, to become the government. First Minister John Swinney has said that a majority of SNP MSPs should be taken as a mandate for a second independence referendum. But we've heard Wes. We've heard Wes. We are not getting one. We are not getting one. We're not allowed it. No democracy for us. Which is literally true. Because we don't vote right wing mostly here in Scotland. So we've been lumped with fucking governments that we fucking despise. I hate it. But meanwhile, at constituency level, Labour's... This Northstat poll is fucking jank, by the way. It's not an MRP. Meanwhile, at constituency level, Labour is on 20 points. Now, I've seen them down as low as 13 in some of the polls. Reform are on 16. I like that, but they've been higher than that in some of the other polls. And the Lib Dems are on 11. The Tories are on 7 or 8. Get wrecked, Russell. So the head of the leader of the Scottish Tories up here is called Russell Finlay. Oh, that might be a good one to read. The survey suggested the Scottish Tories had seen the biggest surge in backing as the campaign entered the final days, growing to 4. What the hell? In nearly every other poll, oh. Yeah, I didn't blame you, Loris. The survey suggested the Scottish Tories had seen the biggest surge in backing as the campaign entered the final days, growing to 14 points. Nearly in every other poll there have been sub 10. Literally most of them have been under 10 points. So going up to 14? It's been fucking ages since I've had a Morton roll. By the way, for those of you who do not know, Morton's is a bakery company up here, especially here in Glasgow. And it's called Morton's Morning Rolls. So people put a variety of things on their roll in the morning for their breakfast. Black pudding and Thai scone. Or far too much bacon and half a bottle of ketchup. Or lots of fucking pepper. On the regional list, where 56 seats are up for grabs, the poll also suggested Russell Finlay's party could be the biggest winners. Alright. I put the SNP ahead on 28% down to, but according to Curtis, this won't deliver a single additional seat under the proportional system. Yeah. Labour are on 17% at the regional level, so there's 8 different regions. Tories are on 14, Reform and Green are tied on 12, and the Lib Dems are on 10. Oh, for fuck's sake. Rejoice, look at it. Russell and Ruth the Muth. Where the fuck is that taken? Burnside. Oh, technically that is just in Glasgow, just. Hey, holiday cottages or something. According to Curtis, this could give the Tories 8 first-past-the-post seats. 8 constituencies. Fucking hell. They are currently on... Oh. Hang on. Right. That's another alert I got. To cast? Welcome in to cast. I did not recognise that name. I am Marcat79 Scotty, a Scottish disabled Marxist streamer, I usually talk about health and disability and benefits, but there's currently elections. So we're talking about the Holyrood elections mostly because I'm Scottish. Don't get me wrong, I've been covering what's happening in Wales because they've got their devolved administration getting voted in as well. And there's lots of council seats and some mayoralties up for grabs in the England. Thank you to Cast for following me. Feel free to stick around and learn about Scottish politics. According to Professor Curtis, this could give the Tories a constituency, alright, the Lib Dems 5 and Labour 3. Most of the polls have had them losing all their constituencies. I repeat, Labour, they've been polling throughout most of this campaign to lose all of their constituencies, and that includes the second in command of Scottish Labour, Jackie Baillie, in Dumbarton, if you're interested. Overall, Reform UK would become the biggest opposition party with 19 MSPs, all from the list, and both the Tories and Scottish Labour would be left with only 16 MSPs each. Before the election got called, the Tories were on 31. Can't remember what Labour was on, fuck. The Scottish Greens would return a record 11 MSPs, while the Lib Dems would have 10. So there we go. 64. So this was the last one, 31. So the Tories were the opposition. Alright, so there, Labour 22. Lib Dem on 4. And the Greens on 8. So we would go up by 3. Right. 57. 16. 16. 10. 11 for us. 11 for my party, Scottish Green member. And 19 for Reform. Ugh. He's not unlikable. He's more popular than the other party leaders, I think Helena said earlier on. I think that's all I need to cover from this one. So yeah, there we go. Huh. What's this?
I'm heading to Bromley, where I'm about to try and donate this envelope full of Russian money to Reform UK's London mayoral hopeful, Layla Cunningham.
It's true.
Last year, the former leader of Reform UK in Wales, a man called Nathan Gill, was found guilty of accepting Russian bribes in exchange for making pro-Kremlin comments in the European Parliament. Activities for which he was paid upwards of £40,000. Now, even though Nathan Gill tried to recruit other MEPs while he was taking orders from Dracula's second cousin, Reform UK leader Nigel Farage has refused to launch an investigation as to whether his party is housing other pro-Kremlin assets. Now, there's no suggestion that Reform UK's London mayoral candidate Layla Cunningham has ever accepted Russian money, but maybe we should give it a go. Hi. Hi Layla, lovely to meet you. I'm such a huge fan.
Oh, are you?
I absolutely love everything you're doing.
Wow,
I
thank you.
can't wait to finally have a London mayor who can get rid of these phone snatching illegals.
I know, right? I know, right?
Crazy.
It's crazy.
I did have a question about a sort of logistical question about donations. So a really good friend of mine called Dimitri, he's a businessman, he lives in Moscow. He's sort of given me this to sort of give to you. And basically it's just it's a bit of an envelope full of money, but he said you can basically do whatever you like with it. You can maybe build the world's biggest union flag, or maybe pay to get rid of the gay flags. There's loads of money in here. So I've got...
Is this a joke?
No, not at all. Can I give it to you?
What is it?
It's
Bag of cash from Dimitri in Russia.
Yeah, my good friend Dimitri. He's just a huge fan of Reform UK and he'd love to... Can I give it to you?
No, I can't.
We can't take
Are you
packages.
sure? Oh, why not? But I mean, honestly, he's such a huge fan of everything you're doing. I'd love... I mean, can I give it to a member of your team?
No,
Not at all?
No,
Are you sure?
I
Something
can't.
is fine.
Well,
I
it's
can't
actually...
take cash.
No, we can't take brown
Well, the thing is,
He
like...
can donate from.
Just go on.
Oh, can he...
Just go on.
Oh, can he... Oh, could he donate in crypto? Because the thing
I
is...
think they banned it actually.
Oh, no. Well, he's basically just made a massive killing in the Ukraine war, and so he'd love to donate to the party.
Sorry, are you with Reform?
I
Are
know.
you with Reform?
Can
So
I...
you're filming us basically taking a brown envelope?
Oh, no. It's not... No. I'm just trying to donate to the party that
Sorry
I love.
about that.
No, we're not interested in your donation.
Oh, you're not?
No, we're not.
Oh.
No.
I can get him to send it in crypto if that's better.
No, we're just not interested.
Okay. But Christopher did it. Christopher Harborn did it. What a shame. I will try and donate it in crypto, though. I'm heading to Bromley, where I'm about to try and donate this envelope full of Russian money to Reform UK's London mayoral hopeful.
Yeah. Rejoice, comrades. Dan Abulaith is in the chat. Hi, Dan. Well done for getting out and canvassing today. I done it once and it nearly ended me. Sanders Street in Maryhill, just behind a Tesco. Stairs can also fuck off. Yeah, people with knee and ankle and foot problems really shouldn't be canvassing. It was good though, getting out and talking to people. I did like that part of it, but yeah, me walking? No. Same here, Dan. The concentration of tenements here in Glasgow and over in Edinburgh. No. Because Glasgow's on fucking hill. Hills with an S. Kinda knackering, really. And deeply bad for someone with connective tissue and fucking arthritis. I tried my best though. I did. So when I said to the people that I'd been canvassing with it, so we had a party on Thursday back then, just a few days ago, and some of the people who were out canvassing the same day that I was doing it, they came up and said, "Why the hell were you canvassing if you've got arthritis?" I wanted to help out. I said, no, you don't need to do that. You're disabled, we will look after you. Just talk about us on your stream, which I do. That is my way. I was with Shona McIntosh, she's super chill, and we had a great time. Nice one, Dan. Glad to hear it. Give me a minute, I need to go and, I need to go. I will be back momentarily. I return. Hello, comrades. I am back. Sorry about that. I do apologise. Indefinite article. Getting lots of thumbs up. Right. Thank you for that, Andy. And more for me, I assume? Right, place what to best. Local Scott Green King. Oh, she's a councillor. Sweet. So you've got G1s, which are, yes, will be voting Green, or G2s are strongly thinking about voting Green. So today's push for the constituencies the Greens are running in, today's the last push to try and confirm, maybe get the G2s to go up to G1, which is basically, yes, I will be voting Green. Have I been hit by bots? It's been a while. I can't remember where I put that interview from Philippa. Give me a minute. Where else? We have both returned roughly at the same time. I had to go and deal with myself. Welcome back, Davinia darling. I'll play this one because it's important. Quite good. G4's on your... Ah! Bollocks.
Date. Have a glorious day.
What?
Sometimes life gives you lemons and you make lemonade. And sometimes life gives you Nazis. And you depose them before they form a radical death cult ethno-state. Have a glorious day. Sometimes life gives you lemons and you make lemonade. And sometimes life gives you... Sometimes life gives you lemons and you make
Why is it
lemonade.
getting stuck on a
And sometimes
lip?
life
That's
gives you
mad.
Nazis.
I'm nervous too, Dan. Those phone calls are fucking hilarious. There one on Saturday. Mwah. Oh, I did put her in here. So I still haven't done this fucking debate. Oh. Oh, it's nearly a week ago.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Nationals podcast. I'm political reporter Steph Braun, and with me today we've got a very special interview for you today. With me is a former SNP MP, Philippa Whitford. Delighted to have you on, Philippa. Thank you for coming
Thanks
on.
very much, Steph, for the invitation.
No, you're very, very welcome. And you've written a fantastic op-ed for us, which is in the paper today, which is all about what we're going to talk about as we go along. So thank you for doing that, and make sure you have a read of that as well. So Philippa, you, as I say, former SNP MP, you were an MP for 9 years. So you've been out of Westminster for the best part of 2 years now, since 2024. How's everything been outside of the bubble?
Well, it's great to be outside the bubble. When I kind of look at things, and particularly the chaos that's going on at the moment, I'm I can't say I miss it, or I miss it like a hole in the head. Attending the Foreign Affairs Committee today would maybe be quite interesting.
Oh,
I
yes,
get my
yes.
standing room only. But obviously we would have ended up sitting in front of Nigel Farage on the rare occasion he turned up. And I think I might have found that quite difficult to control myself, let's just say. I think obviously the biggest thing, and there's a lot of buyer's regret in Scotland, is just sheer disappointment with Labour and people who came to the SNP from Labour, like myself. I mean, I always voted SNP in Scotland, but I used to vote Labour for Westminster until the Iraq War, but watched them fall so far from their origins to the mess they're in now. For myself personally, it's been a bit, to be honest, it's like stop pedaling and you fall off. I've had a few health issues and family health issues over the last kind of almost 2 years, but hopefully I'm coming out the end of that. And I've been back on the road since last summer doing public meetings.
Oh, that's great to hear.
The well-being economy, which we're going to talk about, but also my experiences in Gaza.
Oh yeah, that's absolutely brilliant. Yeah, you've spoken to us a few times about your experiences out there, and that's been so informative and so insightful to have that. No, you've had some great experiences over your time as out there in Gaza and as a politician as well. Now I know you've said about how far Labour have sort of fallen from their origins. It came to mind that one of their MPs who has now been suspended, Carl Turner, recently said that they've sort of gone to the point of no return. That's where Keir Starmer's kind of driven them. It's kind of does feel like that, doesn't it, at the moment? I mean, his job is essentially on the line at the moment.
Well, I think his job's on the line at the moment. I think it's certainly on the line after the 7th of May.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Both with how things are likely to go in Scotland and Wales, but also massive losses in the local elections across England, particularly some of the cities that they've kind of dominated for so long. But we saw that. I mean, the promises he made to become leader, the kind of exiling people on the left out of the party, totally reshaping the party, and then moving their policies so far to the right, following Farage. And now actually they're hemorrhaging more progressive voters to the Greens. So, you can't, this is what they call triangulating your opponents. You can't keep chasing quite a small group of voters, and yet that's what he's been doing. But I mean, he hasn't kept a single promise, whether it was leadership or standing for the election or as prime minister. So I think there just is no trust in him, and particularly among his own.
Yeah. We'll get on to what you're here to talk to us about today anyway, which is the concept of a well-being economy, which I know you've done a lot of talks on over time. And how long have you been doing talks on this?
Well, actually kind of on the theme back to 2018.
Right.
But I was also vice chair of the Health and All Policies cross-party group right back when I became an MP in 2015, which was the principle of it. The name of well-being economy wasn't used. But it was the idea that health is not the NHS. Health is driven by all your policies, and therefore you need to be thinking of the health impact of all your policies. But giving talks around Scotland in one form or another since early 2018.
Yeah, is that more like holistic approach to health, isn't it? It doesn't just it's beyond the NHS. It's different policies that can help support you in other areas of your life.
Well, it's a focus on health. I mean, I commented in my article, but
this lady sounds very smart. No, Davinia, Andy, this is. Listen to this one. Dr. Philippa Whitford. She's she's an oncologist who specialises in gynecological cancers in people with XX chromosome skip. And she actually done a stint in trans health as well. So yeah, so this woman is a fucking legend. She does have a deep voice, yes. It's from, it's where, oh, fucking hell. I've forgotten where she's from. Sorry, Philippa. Give me a minute. Doctor. Oh, damn it. Doctor. Oh, I keep on doing that. What? The hell? Oh. Oh, yeah, yeah, I want the same. Yeah, Dan. Yeah. Where's the Kafir? Carry on. Oh, God. I keep on forgetting that. She's Northern Irish. I can't remember the rules around it. The Kafir's not political. It's cultural. I keep on forgetting she's Northern Irish. I do apologise. Yeah, she's one of yours. Praise be. Christ, her birthday's Christmas Eve. Poor woman.
But I talk about it very strongly in my talks. I'll get asked, can you come and give us a talk about health? But what people mean is, could you talk to us about the NHS like you did in 2014? But actually what the NHS does, it's a focus.
In fact, in saying that, it's not even Palestinian. Well, it is most commonly ascribed to the Palestinian movement. Let's put it that way. But yeah, the Kafir is cultural, not political. No, like I wouldn't be able to. I've got a Scottish Green Party T-shirt now. If I were doing like helping out outside a polling station, I wouldn't be able to wear my T-shirt. Mind you, in saying that, I'd probably be needing to dress up warm because it's going to be raining here. So I'd be wearing like a T-shirt and a jumper, or a long sleeved top and a cardi, and one of my two waterproofs. So one's like a khaki colour, the other one's purple, literally purple. So I'd be wearing one of them. Or I might wear my long Mac type coat, which is like a light colour, and a brolly. Yeah. Well, if he should win. Dan, did you know he's back? He's coming. He's running up here. Please, please, Stephen, I beg of you. Can you imagine Stephen Flynn going up against Malcolm Offord at First Minister's questions? Oh. Yeah, so hopefully he'll win whatever seat he's running in. I can't remember. Fuck. So his Westminster one is Aberdeen North. So whatever the equivalent is in that area up in Aberdeenshire.
on illness.
Yes.
You know, we catch you when you fall, sometimes we cure you, often we're helping you manage your illnesses. Actual health is what kind of start in life did you have? Do you have a warm home, enough food, clean air, decent education, you know, active travel? All of that is what makes people healthy as opposed to being patched up by the NHS.
Yeah, sort of preventing a lot of illnesses as well in the process.
Well, it's what Professor Marmot coined the term the social determinants of health, and that's often what we don't tackle enough. We're picking up the pieces at the end, often very expensively, rather than investing, particularly in children, which is something the Scottish government tries to do, to give them that good start in life, so that the next generation are healthier than us.
I can't remember the polling. I could go back into the national. The Commonwealth pacify the head cases. Possibly, it would be an ameliorating effect. Just everyone, full clarity, Republican. 21st century, why the fuck is there monarchies? Dan's like me, Andy. Yeah. You're like super hubby. You're a contrarians. The pair of yous infuriate me at times. Don't get me wrong, I love yous both. But yeah, being married to a contrarian kind of annoying. He's a Republican as well, don't worry about that. Yeah, good for him, yes.
And don't start crumbling at the age of 50 and picking up all of these various illnesses. You'll have seen the data about the fall in what's called healthy life expectancy, which is the point in your life when you start to have illnesses that are impacting on your quality of life.
Yeah.
And that has even got a couple of years earlier. Well, people in deprived communities can spend a third of their life in ill health.
Yeah.
Give me a minute.
That means the NHS is keeping them going for 25 years. So it adds to pressure on the NHS, because we're actually quite good at keeping people going. Actually, their quality of life isn't so good. We live longer.
I was trying to see what brooch this was down here. Not sure what that one is either. That's the Saltire, that's the Scotland flag. Not sure what that one is. It'll be another flag, by the way, that one. Oh, it's Ukraine. I couldn't make out what that brooch is, though. Damn, I'd love to ask Philippa what brooch that is. Yeah, independence first, then yeeting the monarchy somewhere. I know people who would get out a very famous device that the French used once. I do not like violence. So it would literally be Charles and Camilla from, where was he born? He Windsor as well, I can't remember. Storm the palace because tourism is congestion.
But we're not living well.
Mhm.
And to live well, you need that good foundation from childhood. And you need the chances as you get older to live
Night,
with
Bevan.
enough of what you need in housing, food, etc.
Yeah. So, as you say, Scotland has had a big focus on the wellbeing economy. It's tried to kind of achieve that through policies like the Scottish Child Payment, Baby Box, free prescriptions. But ultimately, your argument and many people's arguments is a genuine wellbeing economy can't be achieved through devolution alone. Scotland must be independent. So, we hear generally a lot from opponents of independence about how independence is a distraction from things that people are worried about: the cost of living, housing, cost of energy, which is also built into the cost of living. But your
Turn it
argument
into
is
a
that
bar,
independence
let
would
them
allow
work
us
and
to actually
spar.
tackle these things properly because we'd have the necessary powers to do so. Is that right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, indeed, Mr.
What
Reeve.
people don't realise is the Scottish Government founded the Wellbeing Economy Governance Group in 2018. It's part of an international alliance, both politicians and academics, who look at the policies that can really change population health and citizen well-being. And they've done a lot with devolution, which again gets completely forgotten. You know, we're the only place that doesn't have the bedroom tax, that, you know, where you get free eye and dental checks and things like that. But people just take all of those for granted, and the media never discuss them. So people don't realize, if we had a unionist government, if Sarwar became the first minister, he'd be under orders. You know, no, we want a level playing field between Scotland and England. There'd inevitably be a pressure from Westminster to remove the things that Scotland has that aren't south of the border.
So it doesn't look like we're getting things better than down in England.
Instead of actually saying to English politicians, why don't you campaign it for your people to have free tuition and free prescriptions, not paying nearly a tenner a go? But all of that is on the service, the public service delivery side, if you like, of the economic circle. The actual monetary.
That's one of the things that terrifies me for the what everyone's saying, the government waiting in the wings. I will keep on repeating this until I'm blue in the face. If that gets voted in and goes into number 10, I'm going to be in queue and buying a shovel myself. I don't care if I'm disabled, I will dig the trench myself. I fucking will. Because they would take out. It would start slowly at first. They would take away. Oh, you've made you've complicated the tax system. You've put in these 3 extra bands. We'll take them off of you. And it would be like drip, drip, drip. Unless they want to do something completely fucking mental and just say, nope, you're not getting this. This is this is an added expense. You failed. You've not got your independence. Not in our fucking hands, you bastards. This is too much. You've failed, blah blah blah, and all that bollocks, and literally rip away Holyrood from us. And at that point, there may be some violence. Just warning you, Nigel. Do not come after our parliament. Even fucking unionists. You think there should still be a United Kingdom? Even the unionists like the parliament. They like having Holyrood. They would just do different policies, obviously. But the unionists would join us in saying, what are you doing taking away our fucking parliament, you bastards? I will say this, I can actually predict violence happening if any sort of more right-wing government gets in charge down in Westminster. They will literally take away our parliament from us. You want to take me out as well? Good luck. It may be broken and fallen to bits. Dinna anger me. Just dinna. You would not like me angry. I am already green because I support Celtic. No, I could literally see that happening. But no, I'm pretty damn sure. Um, very direct action would happen. Very direct. Yeah, don't mess with us. Don't mess with someone with little or nothing to lose. And lots of us have got, at this point, lots of us have got nothing fucking left to lose. Any anger us? Any day.
Fiscal, financial, political side of an economy is not
You've
under
been
our
warned.
control. We got dragged out of Europe. We don't control our immense energy wealth, and therefore our consumers pay the highest energy bills in Scotland, particularly in the north of Scotland.
Mm-hmm.
On the flip side, at the other end of the supply chain, our generators are charged 10 to 15 times the rate to put electricity into the national grid as a power station in the middle of England. And a power station in the south of England is actually paid to put money into the grid. So you have these things, like enforcement.
It costs more to do the transmission. Bollocks. Bollocks. No, it doesn't. You didn't need to be charging us to put it on the fucking grid. Right, if they didn't want to give us our fucking independence, give us fucking energy policy, you bastards. So we can create our own fucking Scottish grid. Thank you. Do more on and offshore. Do fucking tidal. Oh, you didn't say to me you had. You might have actually, and I've just forgotten. I didn't know you had social anxiety, Dan. I'm here if you want to talk about it sometime. Right, you've done your canvassing. You've done it today or yesterday now. Take it easy the day. Stay in the house. Do some research. Watch YouTube videos about the different candidates and what they've been saying and shit. Just chill.
Forcing austerity on us. I mean, in the early teens, Nicola Sturgeon was pushing for don't do austerity, do limited investment. Interest rates were zero. Now's the time to invest in infrastructure, in digital connectivity, all of these things, so we're ready for the recovery. And austerity didn't work. So all of these things have been forced on Scotland disastrously. And unless you have those levers, you can't actually tackle the underlying problems. So cost of living, Brexit's a big contributor, rising food prices because of Brexit. As you mentioned, the energy that we are paying high rates of electricity costs because the UK model is to charge electricity at the most expensive unit rate based on the price of gas.
Yep.
Price of wind didn't get any more expensive. We get most of our electricity from wind. We get zero benefit. So Scotland pays the highest energy costs in Europe, even though the UK had only a 4% exposure to Russian gas. Compare that with the German exposure. As you know, my husband's German. 55% of their gas was Russian. Our capped energy bills are 3 times what people in Germany are paying.
Wow.
Why is that? So energy on its own.
Because we are cut to the fossil fuel companies that fund the main parties. We didn't need to be drilling in Rosebank and fucking shit. forgotten the other one. So one's oil and one's gas. Oh, indefinite articles to never works. Reformer pushing for more, so I don't think. You just start putting barbed wire along Adrian's wall. That might work. Oh no, I'm going the full drastic mode. Manfrog getting into number 10 is nightmare fuel for me. I'm a useless eater according to them. Either that, they'll leave me be, but they'll reduce my money and put him back to work. Oh, hi Andy. Stay hydrated with Kinsel juice if you want. Self-care is good care. Take your meds. Stay based. Free Palestine. And tell the DUP yous are fucking nutters. Good night, my friend. No, I will catch you later. Say good night to Andy, everyone. Based Northern Irish comrade. I love meeting new people. The thing that's the issue with me is the fact that I can't fucking walk. Arthritis sucks. Sprog. Thank you, Sprog. I do not recognise that name. Hello, Sprog. Rejoice, we have a Sprog in the chat. I am Katie Marshall 4340 on the YouTubes, or Madcat79 Scotty Eye on the Twitches. I'm a Scottish disabled Marxist streamer who tries to talk about health and disability and benefits, and politics as well. It's currently politics because elections. Haha. This is Dr. Philippa Whitford. She was an oncologist. She was an SNP MP for the best part of a decade. This woman is a fucking legend. Praise be Dr. Philippa. And this is the national podcast, by the way. So I pay for the national. It is a really good paper, especially for independence in Scottish politics. Oh, yeah. My nerves are shot as well. These are my nerves. Literally, my nerves are fucked. The myelin sheath's fine. Don't worry about that. So that's basically like the fat sheath around the nerves themselves. The nerves misfire and cause me pain and different weird or painful sensations all over this. It's fun. He's literally seen me lying. So this is a recliner. He's literally came back in from either going out to the shops or being in the kitchen or something. And I've been here with tears streaming down my face. Not nice. Not much they can do about it. I'm on pregabalin. It does some good. Some good.
Is enough explanation for why you need control
You
over
do
your
that.
own resources for the benefit of your own people, and also why you need to be able to control your future, such as
Yes.
going back to the EU and tackling the economic and social problems that Brexit has caused.
Yeah, so I guess what we're talking about here is the why of independence that we keep hearing about, that a lot of SNP candidates are talking about, and people within the movement have said that we need to talk about more. They've sort of said we need to get away from this talk about process all the time, how we get a referendum, and start talking about how independence would actually make a difference to people's lives, because we need to get more.
How would we get independence Mad Cat style? Go to B&Q, buy a shovel. If enough of us do it, we will literally sever us at the border. But I am a lunatic. I'm Lexit now. I voted Remain because I didn't want that bunch of fucking asshats in charge. You know, if we had a proper left-wing government in charge, we might have actually taken benefit from actually leaving the EU, doing more expansionary policy. Like we had to stick to a funding model and the EU procurement rights as well. That, like, the bidding processes and to get things built or brought in, blah 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 blah. We could have actually taken full advantage of that and funded the country properly. That would have been fun. But no, we had these bunch of basically neocons and neolibs. And they've just went, yes, austerity. That way. Bastards. Yeah, neither do I. Oh. The ones that currently exist, they wouldn't really fit how Scotland would work. When it's not been literally put in the dark and embargoed to within an inch of its life and still thriving, Cuba. I quite like the Vietnamese model. It's quite good. That gets state capitalism in China. Does quite well, I guess. Don't get me wrong, they're still capitalist. Outward. They do make all the things. But yeah, so I quite like the Cuban way. Vietnamese one's quite good.
People on side. That the polling shows that since 2014, the kind of the sentiment towards independence has not really changed from that kind of.
Yeah, the market socialism approach, I quite like it as well. Yeah, and I like Cuba's approach. But if we get independence, we need to talk about that as a nation, as an independent Scottish nation. No, like, there's different things that I'd want to be doing. Obviously, I'm a Marxist at the end of the day. So even as a socialist or a social democrat government that we would get after independence is better than what we've got. Damn sight better than what we've got. Fucking neoliberalism, anyone? But yeah, there's plenty of ways we can be doing it. First, we need to get the independence. But according to Wes, we're not allowed one. We're not allowed a referendum. Apparently. Shut up, Wesley. Oh yeah. I've talked to a streamer about the Kirtland approach as well. He quite likes it. Everyone, go and follow Boy Meets Minnie. They're awesome.
50% region. So I just wanted to know from your view, when you're looking at the SNP's campaign, have you heard enough from them about the why of independence, or is there still too much talk about process? Because we've heard a lot about, an SNP majority gives us a mandate to go for a second independence referendum. That's the big line we always hear. So is there enough talk for you about the why of independence?
I don't think there's been enough talk about the why of independence.
That's the problem, Sprog. That's the problem. Yeah. I'm not. Ugh. No, if we had the independence, I would hope we'd have a fucking, like a serious discussion about an exit tax. And there's more we could be doing, like a land value tax. Give me a minute. There's actually a good policy that I noticed on one of the campaign leaflets. Give me a second. Bollocks. Come back, lid. Drop the lid of my juice. Aha! H2O. There we go. Water bottle filled. Second highest development in India, Kerala. What the actual fuck? Oh, thank you, Mr. E. Thank you. Stay hydrated. I can't show you my bottle like I usually do. It's over here. Stay hydrated. Self-care is good care. Take your meds if you need to take any. Stay based. Free Palestine. And laugh at any reform agents you see canvassing today. Vote SNP constituency and green on the list. Mwah. Good night. Have a good sleep. What? The actual fuck, Poco? That's fucking mental. Are you okay, Poco? I'm worried now. A couple of Burks. Rejoice, comrades. Beast, YouTuber and content creator. A couple of Burks. That you, GLJ? I don't. The neighbouring constituency, that way. Whoops, that way. That's north. So, that's west. So the constituency to the west, that used to be part of the one I currently sit in, cut in half. So that's got my comrade, my friend, Iris Dwayne. Everyone in Kelvin and Maryhill, vote for Iris. She is fucking awesome. I love Iris so much. She would be a fucking awesome MSP. Oh yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, I did notice that, Dan. Fucking excellent. Good. Good. I'm glad you got some sleep. Yes, she is fucking amazing. Evelyn and Mary Hill, please vote for my colleague, my comrade Iris. She is great. She'll represent you very well. Yes, praise be, Poco Carante is in the chat. Great to see you, Poco. I feel a little gaslighting when the cops thought I was.
For years.
I'm glad they found him.
Why I got back out on the road in 2018.
Go and get your
I
cup of
felt
tea.
that we started to become a bit too inward looking.
Right.
You know, plan A, plan B, do this, do that. A parallel that I often draw is we were in Germany just basically 3 months before the Berlin Wall came down. You couldn't even imagine that the Berlin Wall was going to come down. And yet that night in 1989, the people of East Berlin just decided they were taking the bloody wall down. And the government had to decide, was it going to shoot them? Because that's what it used to do to people who were trying to cross. And it wasn't even that long before that moment that the last person was killed trying to get over the Berlin Wall. So what changes things is people power, is having a majority. And when I'm doing my talks, I often make the comment, we quote, the people of Scotland are sovereign. In comparison to Westminster, where it's the Crown and Parliament. In Scotland, it's the people who are sovereign. But we also have to respect that and recognise it doesn't matter what method you use, you need a majority behind you. And if we'd been standing up in Parliament for the 9 years I was there, with a clear majority of people behind us, we would have had significant power. Whereas, you know, one poll shows yes ahead, the next poll shows no ahead. It keeps flipping backwards and forwards. And so to me, the energy that has gone into, oh, I disagree with your method, and I think we should look at this other method. If more people had been outward reaching to those who can be convinced, and it's our duty to convince them, then we would have been building that majority. And we have to build that majority. And that means you need to talk about the why. People need a vision. And to me, the well-being economy, when you're talking about, you know, fairer wages and decent level of pension, you know, an EU level of pension, like 70 to 90% of average earnings. The UK pension is less than 30% of average earnings. You tackle pensioner poverty, you know, having energy control, you ease the cost of living for people. You know, so having these levers of power are actually central to what people care about. And therefore, the well-being economy gives that vision that ordinary people can say, actually, I can imagine that myself, my family, my kids, my community would do better with independence. So I'm going to start thinking about it.
Yeah. So we almost need to, in your opinion, talk more about how independence is actually going to affect people's sort of day-to-day lives and focus on specific areas of their life which would improve through independence, rather than, I mean, we hear a lot of general talk about how independence will make us prosper as a country and put us back on the world stage and things, and that's all great, but I don't know how much that really sort of sings with people. How I don't know how much they can really relate to how that's going to make a difference to their lives. So it's that focus on how independence is going to lower your bills, lower your energy bills, and things like that that you think that we need to get at.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's both. It depends. Individuals will have different interests. I mean, obviously, Brexit was a big shock to people, and that will already have opened some people to the concept of independence and returning to the EU, who maybe voted against independence in 2014. And I think that is definitely one of the big attractions of independence. But also, as you say, having a voice in the world stage. I mean, you know, I lived and worked in Gaza. I actually lived and worked briefly in southern Lebanon as well. And there are many people who are exorcised by the complete trashing of international law and all the Geneva Conventions that are going on in Palestine, in Lebanon, in Iran. And yet we have no.
Dr. Philippa Whitford. I'll post it in the chat. She was an oncologist. She was an SNP MP, so she worked down in Westminster in London. Damn it. Philippa Whitford. This woman is a legend. I love her. Yeah. I've forgotten the redhead's name.
Control over our public airports or to ban certain dealings with Israel. And so that kind of, oh no, you have no voice in foreign affairs. There'll be people for whom that's important. But for the majority of people, it's looking at what is causing the big pressure in their lives, and that'll be getting through the month. Their mortgage, their rent, their energy bills, their grocery costs, the opportunities for their children in the future. You know, at the moment, we hemorrhage our young people to the southeast of England because the UK is so centralized. Headquarters of big businesses are there. The top jobs in the civil service are there. If you become an independent country, yes, you're going to spend all that money on civil service and everything, but they'll be spending their money in your economy. And that's the thing, is that these things are not money lost. When you're paying public sector staff in a decent way, that money is going into your economy and stimulating it. So for people imagining that them and their children could be better off is something that can open that. And I feel that we need to be talking about it. I know we talk about certain policies, particularly around child poverty and the Scottish Child Payment, which is an absolute game changer. But the majority of people in Scotland have no experience of the Scottish Child Payment. Whereas when you highlight the life course of the wellbeing policies, the baby box, the early learning, free tuition, more affordable housing per capita, no bedroom tax, removing peak rail fares, free personal care for the elderly, then in actual fact, there's hardly a family that doesn't benefit from Scotland's wellbeing policies. And the problem is, as I say, they take them for granted. They've no idea how many of them are unique to Scotland and therefore how easy it would be to lose them.
Yeah, I mean, I've been lucky to learn a lot about all the things that are unique to Scotland because my family are based in England. That's where I'm from. I'm from Cheshire, so I have my parents comment a lot about how things are different up here, and how there is a concept I think that Scotland does generally look after people better. I think, and there's
we do. Excuse me, we do. We're more caring. We like looking after each other. Who remembers Big Society? Can't you fucking do that, David, if you're cutting the fucking money out the country, you fucker. So like the Big Society, we all look after ourselves and all that stuff. Not when you're doing austerity, you ghoulish fuck. Jokingly. There's probably people out there who call them Saxons. So Saxony is a part of France. But yeah, Saxons settled up here as well. We call them Sassenachs, which is basically the Scottish word for it. And one of... Knife? I don't do this. Former friends of mine, they're no longer among us. COVID took them. They used to call the English people Sassenach. Yeah. Have I talked about this before? You think you've heard it before? There's every possibility I've probably mentioned it. Every possibility. So a couple of my friends who are trots used to call them Sace bastards, basically English bastards. Please don't do that, it's not good. I love my English friends, I think they're fucking amazing. Praise be Jim Spake. Praise be Scribby, the resident philosopher. And people like Seamstress Dragon, Miss Hire, Tom Isaacs. They are all fucking amazing people. I love them. Yeah. Well, I'm Pictish. Part of Scotland that my ancestors are from, basically Picts. Like the vast majority of people who have Pictish ancestry. Don't get me wrong, there's ones who have Strathclyde or Strathclyde ancestry, so that's basically this part of the west coast, which goes out to Dumbarton. So that's where Strathclyde started. Dumbarton. Damn it, what's it called? Then you had the Amadans, which were north of there, so the Western Isles and stuff. They have Nordic, because Norway, and the Danes as well. Yeah, mostly Celtic with some Norse thrown in. Like Skye and Lewis. Nordic. Yeah. The Northern Isles, definitely. Scandi or Nordic. Yeah. Like the Danelaw managed to make it up into parts of Scotland. Take a guess, where did they got that name from? It's the Danelaw, which was basically the set of rules you had to live by in those areas from the east coast of England and up to a little bit in Scotland. A lot of Geordie words do have Viking roots in them, yeah. Thank you, Reza Lindsay. Praise be Reza. Again, based English comrade. Hope Reza's doing well.
Because there is that focus on people's well-being and trying to tackle child poverty and things like that. And we were talking about just wanted to go back to it, the people power and that we need to try and get kind of independence over the line. I think if we go back to devolution and the devolution referendum that was achieved, that was achieved because of people power, wasn't it? I mean, there was no doubt that that's where Scotland was going to go. I think there was maybe a slightly less confidence in Wales, but there was certainly no doubt that that's where Scotland was heading.
Yeah, in Wales there wasn't really the same interest. It was much closer. The drive to have a Scottish Parliament again. I mean, obviously there had already been a referendum in 79, which was kiboshed by the
Okay. I'll find a video on that and show you exactly how they fucking put the kibosh on us like that. Bastards. It was really fucking horrible what they done. We could have been independent already.
40% of all voters rule, which includes people who are dead, and that's why it didn't go through. A majority of people who voted to have a Scottish Assembly back in 79.
Mm-hmm.
So it then was held up almost another 20 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to say that after 2014, and we had Johnson and we had Brexit and all the other things that you feel should have been complete game changers, I certainly thought that there would have to be a Labour government at Westminster for people to move. Because what we still had, oh yes, but if it was a Labour government, we don't need independence. They'll sort everything and we don't need independence. Now, obviously, part of the argument is, yeah, but you might only get them for 5 years and then it'll be back to the Tories. But in actual fact,
The all spellings are used. There is no right or wrong in language, trust me. Like, I keep on saying my mum can't spell to save herself. Sometimes I can't spell. I'm one of the best spellers in my family, oddly enough. But yeah, my mum can't spell to save herself. But yeah, there is no right or wrong way to spell words, especially in English. I will keep on saying this until my dying day. English is garbage. But the way I've seen it spelled, the most of the time, it's K-I. But I know I've got family members who do the K-Y. I like it with the K-Y. It looks fun.
In fact, what Starmer's government have shown, it doesn't matter what colour the government at Westminster is, it is bad for Scotland. And therefore, if you want to control your own future, you have to be in control of your own future. Now, when I was health spokesperson at Westminster dealing with UK-wide charities, they would comment on the difference, that if they were presenting evidence at Holyrood to the Scottish government, from experts, there would be a, right, okay, there's an interest in that. Well, we could do these 3 things, but that isn't under devolution, and that we don't have the budget for. But we could look at this bit. Whereas in Westminster, stuff would just get filed in the bin. It was just no engagement. I mean, Westminster has no interest in a well-being economy, no interest in well-being policies. It will never be focused on citizen well-being. It's far too much interested in the lobbyists, the millionaires, the international millionaires, etc. And to see that from a Labour government, who originally obviously were a party of workers and citizens, is such a dramatic change. In a way, people needed to see that don't be clinging on, waiting for a Labour government. It isn't going to give it. You need the power in your own hands if you want the direction of your country to be in your control.
So we've obviously got the UK government who keep batting away for various reasons, and they obviously go.
She's SNP, so she's left-leaning. She does actually sound rather socialist there, doesn't she? At least philosophically, yes. She might be a socialist. She has said "sock dem" in the past, in Westminster. Tories actually laughed at her. Fuck off, you bastards. Working class is not just the workers. Exactly, Omaha. I am working class. I do not own the means of production. Oh, no. Technically, I've got a stream, so that might be the means of production. Or this can be classed as production. Going on the definition, it might be. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people spell things, especially with the K, words starting with the K, other than my name, obviously, Katie. But yeah, I've seen a lot of people here in Scotland do the KY spelling of words. Oh, yeah. Correct, Omaha. Omaha being based in the chat. You love to see it. Excuse me.
Back to the result
Oh.
in 2014 a lot that they won't offer another referendum. They keep saying that. Do you think that there is a level of support for yes, for independence that would make them not be able to say no?
Yeah, absolutely. I
And
mean,
what-
they say they are Democrats. I don't think
Yes.
it's a setting a
Where do you think Mad Cat came from? That was my sisters that called me that, Mad Cat. Because I'm a little bit out there, a little bit mad. I'm a delightful lass. If a little bit left field. Rather fun, that one. I do like it. I like Mad Cat. Quite cool. And I am quite cool, obviously, if a little irreverent. Yeah, I know what cat is. You're not allowed to bring that in, Pat, I think. Yeah, that's correct. You're not allowed to bring that in. They still manage it, though. I don't know how they manage to get into the country, but they do. Maybe it gets grown here now. Maybe.
hard rule, like 60% or 2/3 or whatever. But like you said, the sustained view of devolution, of having a Scottish Parliament, that gradually gets harder to ignore. The political experts say you can't set a higher threshold because what you're actually saying is the minority
Yes.
have the power.
Yes,
So the 40%
Yeah,
get
that's
to
the one they've
overrule
banned in
by
New Zealand.
59% until you get 60%. But the driver of kind of recognition as an independent state is very much international recognition. When I was Europe spokesperson for 2 years, there was a lot of sympathy when I went to Brussels, when I met politicians elsewhere. So for me, being able to demonstrate the majority of people in Scotland want to be independent, and this is being maintained, that becomes harder and harder for the UK government.
Almost
to
becomes a
ignore.
problem for them to ignore.
Oh,
it, doesn't it?
absolutely.
Yeah,
because underneath everything else, it's this democratic
Oh, wow.
deficit. You know, it's a voluntary union, but
I
there
think
is
the
no
Scrabble
fire
board
exit.
might be coming out.
This is ridiculous.
It's in a
and
box
so
in the bedroom.
it gradually
Oh.
becomes
I'll pause that. I think the Scrabble board might be coming out. It is in a box in the bedroom. I can see it as a clear box. I know exactly where it is. I'll be an absolute bastard getting to it. But that's what Super Hubby's for. That's how he managed to get my lovely sparkly bag out. I could see it in a box. I said to him, he asked me, where is the bag? Where is it? And I took him through to the bedroom. Yeah, there it's there. Oh, you never make anything fucking easy, do you? But he still done it. He moved all the boxes that were on top of the box I needed and got my bag out. I love that bag. I got that from Accessorize. Some time ago. That is all I will say. Because if I actually think about when I actually bought it, I'll cry. Yeah. Bushman's tea. Wow. Mm, mm. Like, the drug policy doesn't make any fucking sense either. Not devolved either. No, like all the major ones that I would want the Holyrood to have, we don't have them because security. Fuck off. Ah, Nice one, Poco. Cool. Like, I've got a really good vocab, but I read a lot. Like, these books surrounding me aren't just for decoration. He's got a book getting delivered tomorrow. I'll actually bring them over. They're part of a series. We've been missing this book for years. A family member who will not be named, so this is one of Super Hubby's close relatives, that's all I'll say, nicked all the most profitable books while we were moving out to a flat in Knightswood. He knew exactly what he was doing. Fuck it. He's in prison anyway. So Super Hubby's older brother knew exactly what he was doing and nicked the most valuable books that Super Hubby owned. And some of these books are out of print because the author is no longer among us. That's the problem with some sci-fi writers. Case in point, Philip K. Dick. Yeah, the QWERTY is a type of keyboard. It is literally called the QWERTY keyboard. And yeah, it is a word. I have done QWERTY on the Scrabble board, and he's just looked at me. He does not get to dictate because he's put words like grazed and woad on the Scrabble board. So no, fuck off. I'm having my QWERTY. Thank you. It can be lucky and unlucky. Like most of the time when I got Q as a little girl playing with my sisters or my mum, I used to cry and they just looked at me, oh look, Katie got the Q. Yeah, you lose 10 points if you can't get rid of the fucking thing. No, like there's books out there. I had one of them. I no longer have it because he's jealous and he binned it. He said, nope, only standard dictionary, not the cheap book. Not a cheap book. Doesn't he know what letters you're going to pull out the back? No, we just used the standard dictionary, which we've got 3 of. Chi. Yeah. Yeah, I've got one as well. It's over there. 4 feet away from me.
Embarrassing for them. Whereas at the moment they go, oh yeah, well there was that poll at this poll. And so they're always able to counter one with the other.
Yeah.
Whereas if we put our energies into building that majority, and Believe in Scotland polls suggest that if you're talking to people about a well-being economy vision of an independent Scotland, the support goes up to approach 60%. And if you're talking about those kinds of levels and sustaining them, then that becomes much harder to ignore. It's not, you can't bump the people of Scotland into independence. So it's not well, somehow we came up with this trick. We're not quite the majority, but we're almost the majority. I mean, that's going to be totally divisive. You need to convince people. And I would like to see us doing more of that. There has been discussion and highlighting of the Scottish wellbeing policies, but in a way, I think using that language, talking about wellbeing policies, talking about the wellbeing economy and educating the public in what that kind of package looks like for them. There's always people, including my husband, goes, oh, I don't like that phrase, wellbeing economy. The public don't know what it means. And I go, the public had no idea of COVID. But we went on the telly and explained it.
Yeah.
And then they understood it.
Yeah.
They even understood stuff like the R number. But the public are not stupid.
Forgot about that.
Just go and explain
A linguist or a lexicographer.
Wow. And build on that. So I would definitely like to see, and would have liked to see more in this election campaign, more discussion about the wellbeing policies we've built through devolution and the need to protect them, but also what we would gain with independence.
So, I mean, what are the ways that I suppose that we could explain what people get in Scotland and why that's good, is laying out those differences between Scotland and England, and I know you've talked about that a bit in your op-ed, how the
I know, each
approach
to
to
their
public
own,
health in
Vocal.
Scotland is quite different
Carry
from
on.
south of the border, which you've said is about delivering profits to private health companies quite a lot of the time. Do you want to just talk about the differences you kind of observe there from?
Yeah, I mean, as I say in my talks, I'm not really focusing on the NHS, but there is plenty to talk about. I mean, the recent figure of 1.6 billion going to private health companies in profits. There's articles out at the moment talking about the number of patients who end up referred back into the NHS, the number referred back into the NHS, blue lighted by ambulance, because private hospitals pick the easy cases. They don't have emergency cover. They don't have emergency departments. They don't train doctors and nurses. They completely leech like parasites off the NHS. And then the NHS is expected to pick up the pieces when things go wrong.
Right.
And the problem is, and this is what I highlighted in 2014, if you're going to offer, all your hip replacements out for private companies to do, they'll pick all the easy ones. The NHS will be stuck with the redos and the third time around ones. How are you going to train your orthopedic surgeons? There isn't a straightforward hip to do. They've all been taken by the private hospital down the road. So suddenly your NHS hospital isn't providing straightforward hips because the contract went somewhere else. So the contract isn't with the NHS. And so there isn't the funding for that. So per hip operation, suddenly the NHS is getting more expensive. And that's why the Lansley reforms in 2013 drove the NHS in England from somehow finding pound coins down the back of the sofa every year and scraping a balance to being 5 billion overdrawn within just a few years, because you have created very expensive administration costs and profits have to go to healthcare providers. And yet now you have Wes Streeting going, I'm going to open up the NHS even more to private health in England, which they're doing. And this terrible trade deal that Starmer and Streeting have done with Trump that is going to put the cost of new medicines up that maybe come from America, that the NHS will pay 25% more for them. Now, that's going to knock a big hole in the NHS drug budget. And that means that some new drugs that we might have managed to afford, new cancer drugs, new drugs for congenital conditions, we won't be able to afford. So that will have a direct limitation of the treatment and healthcare people can access.
Are you indefinite article? I kind of guessed that was your name. That's what they want to happen up here. That's why I didn't want Anas to become First Minister. They literally, so anyone who is working in the private sector, the private healthcare sector, they are literally trained and they've worked in the NHS, and they're either taken wholesale out of the NHS and put into private provision. So all that experience, all that training that they've got, and the experience of working in the NHS, just gone. Essentially nicked out of the NHS. I don't want that. Fuck off, Wesley. I am so glad health is devolved. And they keep on saying, oh, the NHS isn't working as well as it should be. Fuck off, Anas. You're talking bollocks. We are the best performing NHS in Scotland, in the UK, up here. There is scant private provision up here. Don't get me wrong, there is still private provision, but it is very, very, very minimal up here in Scotland. So I don't. Oh, who's health? I can't remember who you would have put in health if you got to be First Minister. But I don't like Wesley. I don't. So literally, taking money out of the NHS budget in England, yoink, and given to for-profit healthcare providers. That's not the point of the NHS. I should know. My mum and my younger sister, my mum used to, she is retired now, she's in her 70s, but my younger sister is a nurse. When she graduated, some of her friends that she trained with, that she'd done her degree with, and done all her training before she got flung in the deep end, she graduated a year before COVID hit. My poor darling. Oh. Some of them went down to work in England, and some of them barely survived a year. One of them only lasted 6 months. And she said, nope. And she came back up. 4 months into working down there, she was literally back home calling my younger sister. She was literally down there calling my younger sister, nope. Look for blah, blah, blah. And my sister done that, no problem, I will look. And she escaped after 6 months of working down in England. She was renting a flat, by the way. She never bought a property. She was in discussions about getting a mortgage. She'd even found a place with a sort of decent commute to her work. But no, she said, no, this is, I don't like the way it gets run down here. Scotland's better, I'm coming back home. I do not want that inflicted on Scotland. Thank you very much.
And yet that was agreed by the Westminster government. Obviously, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland get no input because this is foreign affairs. It's not. It actually impacts our health services.
Yeah, that's the kind of things that we need to explain, isn't it, to people when we're talking about independence and these layers that can because the Westminster are saying, oh, that's foreign affairs, and so they control that, but it actually impacts on other areas, and I think that we need to perhaps explain that better to people. I don't know how it is that we do that. I'm sure there's different methods of doing that because these are quite complex issues that you've got to explain to people that are not involved in this sort of political world. But it does seem like if people had a bit of a better grasp on how one area of government affects another, then
well, even if you go back to the COVID pandemic, Matt Hancock telling PPE supplier companies in England who had previously been supplying care homes in Scotland, they'd had contracts. No, you've not to supply them. You need to supply us. And then when the Scottish government were trying to go overseas and negotiate massive extra contracts, telling British embassies, you've not to give them any assistance to source PPE internationally. You have to focus just on England. That was just spiteful and petty, and yet was sabotaging Scotland's response. Now, luckily, we had our own stockpile in Scotland. It did take about a month to work out how to ship the vast quantities of protective gear out to hospitals, but also suddenly to GP practices, dentists, care homes that the NHS didn't supply previously. But in actual fact, what we did not have that we saw in England was nurses and doctors wearing bin bags. And Ivan McKee managed to support companies to actually make PPE in Scotland, so that by the end, actually well near the beginning of the COVID pandemic, we were actually producing half of our protective clothing in Scotland. So Scotland kind of got on with it quite quickly, but yet there was this attempt not just to not help, but to actually sabotage. And this was when lives were at stake. This is kind of incredible to be doing things like that. And that's the problem. We've had all of these appalling decisions that have flowed from Westminster that don't give an impact in the media, and the public don't realize just how much harm, including the harm of austerity. 16 years of austerity hasn't worked. National debt is higher. It has damaged people and it has killed local economies. Because if you cut benefits and you freeze public sector pay, that's what you're doing. You're creating dead high streets. People can't afford to shop, go out for a meal, go for a drink. So people lose their jobs. And eventually that means a lower tax take back to the treasury.
Yeah.
So it's just utterly self-defeating.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yet we're already hearing it because of the crisis that's likely to come because of the Iran war. We're already getting this softening people up.
Might have to change your holiday plans, that sort of
Well, but also just, the Institute of Fiscal Studies saying, the governments need to prepare. This is coming down the line. There'll need to be cuts, et cetera, et cetera. Well, they didn't work the last time. And all you ended up doing was the wealthy trebled their wealth. Push that wealth down the way. Look after your citizens, the broad base of citizens. They'll spend the money in the economy. It actually stimulates the economy, and it also relieves suffering and keeps people healthier.
Yeah. Just to get through a few things before we finish up. So there's, as you said, there's been some fantastic policies the Scottish government have introduced, like the Scottish Child Payment, and statistics show what a difference that has made to families. But there are some things that the Scottish government can still do with the powers it has now to make a difference to families. And I think one of those that's screaming out at the moment is childcare, because we had those 1140 hours brought in for 3 and 4 year olds, some 2-year-olds under certain circumstances. But the Scottish approach, the Scottish policy on funded childcare is now different to England, where people can get funded childcare from the children being 9 months old. We've heard the SNP talk about it. We've heard John Swinney saying that he wants to change this. But do you think that needs to be a pretty big priority, given that it's so rare that Scotland is behind the curve on something like this, and it does feel like it is at the moment? So,
well, when I was at Westminster, the early learning and childcare offer in England, and it was very much couched as childcare, wasn't universal for 3 and 4 year olds. I don't know if their current from 9 months on is. What it was then was if the mother had a job, if both parents were going to be working, and they had to be working enough hours to make it worthwhile. So if a woman got a job, she's suddenly running around in circles trying to get childcare. Now, I haven't kept on top of that. But so I don't know if the 9 months forward is for all children, or if it's on the same basis that you have to, it's limited and it is based on both parents working and earning.
I have to check that myself,
earning enough. But that's what it was when I was in Parliament. And in debates, I highlighted at the time how limited that was for women. What I think absolutely the kind of 9 months to the end of primary school, and also that wraparound, breakfast clubs, post-school clubs. So the flexibility of hours, so that because part of it is about letting women work, letting women get back into the workforce, but you need to know your child is settled first, and then you can go out and look for a job. The childcare offer that we already had has resulted in Scotland having the highest engagement of women in the workforce of the 4 nations. So we have to recognize that. But I'm a long way past that time. my son is well grown up, but equally the importance of that childcare offering actually working for families, I think is critical. So yes, the 9 months forward, but also making sure that it provides the kind of extended or flexible hours that allow people to actually take a job. But I would hope, they've talked about it a lot, and I certainly would hope that this is really going to be quite an early priority to get ahead with, because it'll take time to come in, because you're going to have to build or expand public nurseries. You're going to have to train extra childcare staff. So getting the legislative bit done as quickly as possible, I think, will be a priority.
Yeah. You've also talked about within your piece how independence would give us control over immigration. Scotland does need people to come in to strengthen the workforce. We know that. And you've spoken about how, returning to the EU would help us do this, and also allow us to do things like set the EU level state pension and things like that. just wanted to briefly chat about, because we've talked a lot about independence, but also how important returning to the EU would be for people and what difference that will make to people's lives.
Well, obviously, we are at least getting some attempt from Starmer to patch things up with the EU, but it is in bits and bobs and patching things up. We had a fishing fleet in Troon. It was basically prawn and lobster, particularly. Used to be in the Paris market the next day. We have seen boats scrapped, boats sold, because simply they can't sell it locally. They need to get it to Europe, and the barriers to get something like live lobster to Europe just became overwhelming. And so that's just one example of kind of the barriers that exporters have. When I was an MP, I dealt with that with quite a number of companies. Or if they imported raw material, one of the companies imported cloth to make sportswear, but that then meant too big a proportion of each sports top was not UK. And so suddenly they did have tariffs. So there are all these kind of tariffs and non-tariff barriers that have made it a nightmare for Scottish exporters. But it is, as you touched upon, the loss of people. We lost European workers. Future European workers didn't come. Now, I was health spokesperson at the time of the referendum, and the number of European nurses registering to work in the UK plummeted by over 85% within a couple of months of the referendum. So they were still allowed to come. But why would you go to a country that says it doesn't want you when there's other countries that are desperate for you?
Yeah.
So we've lost, NHS staff. We know from Scottish Care that over 30% of care staff in Scotland were from the EU, and that's a struggle. Labour have even got rid of the kind of pretty pathetic health and care visa that the Tories brought in, and they have set income levels so high that care workers couldn't come here. So the problem is you have all of these barriers, and Scotland is sitting on a demographic time bomb that we are an aging population. We would have been a falling population if Europe hadn't expanded to the east, and thankfully a lot of Polish people came and settled here. Our rural areas are depopulating.
Yes.
So we actually need people. I mean, in the article from Scottish Care, they commented that if even every school leaver this year went into care, it wouldn't meet the problem.
Shocking.
So when you look at care, when you look at agriculture and horticulture, when you look at hospitality, you're simply in a situation we don't have enough working age people. And yet we have reform up here fomenting this xenophobia and anti-foreigner and anti-immigrant, and using a poster of a small inflatable boat as if they are arriving in Scotland. I mean, it's pathetic, but it categorically is not paying any attention to the reality. And the problem is neither are Labour. I mean, Mahmoud, the Home Secretary, she is talking about moving the goalposts retrospectively on people who came with their families. Some of them even were recruited to come for specific jobs in health, in engineering, in research, in IT, on the understanding their families would get settled status or indefinite leave to remain after 5 years.
Yeah.
And she's talking about changing that to 10 to 15 years. Well, Farage could be prime minister then. So suddenly he removes it. That insecurity is going to cause people to say, let's just cut our losses now.
Yep.
Let's go to Canada or Australia or somewhere else, because we can't count on being able to settle our family in the UK, and that will impact us. So having control over immigration is actually vital for Scotland's future, because they bring a lot of positives, including, as I say, my German husband worked as a GP for 30 years here. They're not lengthening your queue at the NHS. They're actually the ones looking after you.
Yeah. Well, it's been great having you with us, Philippa. Thank you very much for coming on. And as a final question, what is your biggest hope, assuming that the SNP get re-elected and are able to form the Scottish government again? The polling certainly suggests that is something that is likely to happen. What is your biggest hope for the upcoming term of the Scottish Parliament, do you think?
Well, I hope that despite the fiscal challenges that we expect because of the Iran war and the Middle East crisis, they do not resort to austerity in Scotland. And obviously, my biggest hope is still that we achieve independence and start to be able to control our own future.
Yeah. Well, thank you again for coming on with us, Philippa, and talking to us about the wellbeing economy. And you can find out more about that through Philippa's op-ed, which is fantastic. So go and give it a read on our website at thenational.scot. Thank you all for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the chat and have a good rest of your day.
That was fucking awesome.
So the steps that we're taking, for example, are to roll out GP walk-in centres. They're already starting to open around Scotland. They're seeing patients and they're taking some of the heat.
The Scottish Parliament election is fast approaching. The nation's...
So this got released the same day as that interview we just watched. And I've been trying desperately to get through it all. Right. Give me a minute, comrades. There we go. That's better. Yeah, you can go there. Oh. Oh, God, my poor legs. Give me a minute, comrades, okay? Oh. Oh. Okay, right. Let's take these off. I'm wearing my compression socks so I don't get to help with the blood clotting and stuff. I've had them on for 12 fucking hours now. I'm taking them off. Oh, God. Ugh. Ugh. Oh. Oh. Ooh. Yeah. Oh god, and immediately they go cold. Brilliant. Ugh. Ah, that's better. Ah, ah. Great. I thought that, and I'm still not feeling too good here. I needed to get those off my legs. I was feeling kind of lightheaded because of those compression socks, and I'm still kind of lightheaded and dizzy. Right. Right. Hang on. Was that yesterday's? That Monday's? I think that was Monday's. Yeah. Let's do No Justice's Monday stream, shall we? To give time for anyone who might go live in the next sort of 20 minutes to half an hour. There, it's there.
Now, I do apologise to everybody who thought that the Helen Whately content was over, and I do apologise for inflicting a second round of Whately on my audience, but as she is not only apparently the Shadow Secretary of State for insane hypocrisy, she's also the Shadow Secretary of State for the Department of Work and Pensions, which means that she is the chief foot soldier of the Conservative Party for attacking people on welfare. And as the Conservatives can't basically run on anything in terms of the actual running of the economy, given how much they ballsed up last time, they have to revert to the classics. Revert to the classics of you can't trust Labour because of welfare and migration. That's basically it. That's all they do is bang on about welfare and migration because they've got nothing else. But fuck all else. And this is after the Labour Party already cut welfare. They already slashed Motability. They already cut access to work. They already cut incapacity benefit. Like, they've already cut a bunch of welfare, having inherited a system that had been shredded to the bone by the previous Conservative governments. And now Helen Whately's on the warpath because, again, all Conservative Party MPs know how to do in 2026 is welfare crackdown, Chagos Islands, charge they phone, eat hot chip and lie. So this is where we're at, chat. Helen Whately, of course, has done a promotional video just like every MP has to do nowadays because Mamdanification is real. This is her discussing the current levels of welfare in this country.
Thousands of households are claiming more than £50,000 in benefits. That's equivalent to being amongst the top 10% of earners.
That's not the same thing. Single household, which will have multiple people in it, is not the same as one person's income. A single income of £50,000 is still in the top 10%. A household income is not. The fact that you're conflating these two, again, just shows how nakedly bad faith these absolute slugs are.
That's unfair, and British people know it. Work should always pay more than benefits. That's why in 2013 we introduced the household benefit cap. But there are now over 2 million households exempt from the cap.
Yes, disabled households. The people who are mostly exempt from the household benefit cap are the disabled. So it's worth pointing out here, because I assume at no point during this video she is going to talk about the fact that a big sector of society that she's demonizing here are the disabled. Because remember on Question Time, she was like, I've done so much work with the disabled, I don't really want to democide them, whilst advocating for policies that would democide the disabled, as the Conservatives already have done up until now, and Labour have just picked up the baton in terms of demonization of the disabled, essentially referring to them as useless eaters, in other words, basically. Tony Blair is on it as well with his emergency handbrake stuff. But yes, when she says some people aren't eligible for the household benefit cap, it is people who have a disability. And it's worth pointing out too that people who have disabilities claiming personal independence payment, and that isn't a benefit payment with a work requirement. Whilst there are some households who will entirely be out of work because of disability, for example, some people will be in work but will still be eligible for PIP, meaning they'll go over the household benefit allowance because they're ineligible for the cap, whilst also having money from work because PIP has no work requirement. And it's worth pointing out, I don't care if some people who are literally unable to work or have incredibly complex needs that means that they qualify for higher rate levels of PIP have more than some people overall as a household. Again, shitty comparison, but whatever. If that's what's necessary for them to have the same kind of life as anybody else. That's why disability payments are so high. It's because disability is really difficult to deal with and it massively increases your living costs. That's what PIP is for. That's why it doesn't have a work requirement. Those additional living costs don't go away as soon as you get a job.
People say to me, why bother working? The Conservatives have a plan to fix.
Why bother working? Well, okay, quit your job then. Every single time someone says to me, I don't know why I bother working when welfare is so high. Cool, quit your job. Quit your job and go on welfare. If there's so much scope to earn so much more than what you would do working, quit. Why don't you quit?
They can't. Because even if they could, they'd struggle. You can't. If you leave gainful employment, if you literally quit, quit from what they deem as a suitable job, you don't get benefits. If you quit your job, you don't. So if people leave jobs, they can't claim out of work benefits because they've left employment of their own will. Don't know them saying that again, disingenuous yet again. And stop demonising people like me, you absolute fucking cockroaches, you parasites, you fucking ghouls.
Why don't you quit and go on welfare? And you'll notice that none of them ever do. None of them ever do. Because they would have to get a disability for the kind of welfare that they're thinking is what they would get from quitting work and going on welfare. They know it's welfare for the disabled. She knows it's welfare for the disabled. Yet she's specifically out here covering up the fact that it's for the disabled to try and win over people who don't know any better, to think that somehow there's this huge cohort of people not working and refusing to work rather than people who are unable to do so because of their disability.
We will stop sickness benefits for mild conditions like anxiety and ADHD.
No one gets based upon the condition that they have. To be able to qualify for a disability payment that gets you above household welfare cap, you have to qualify based upon need, based upon what your personal conditions are, based upon how you score on a bunch of metrics. You don't just go, hello, I have XYZ condition, here's your free money. That's not how this works. You have to prove to an assessor that you qualify based upon your capabilities. Your personal capabilities. The idea that somehow people are getting ADHD benefits, it's not true. You may have ADHD, you may have any number of different disabilities. You go to a PIP assessment, you fill in a form which has all of your different daily living requirements, and then you're judged based upon what you score. It's not judged on what your condition is. And again, like, as has been pointed out in chat, some conditions can range from mild to severe. There is a difference between having a small amount of anxiety and debilitating anxiety. That's what the assessment is for, to delineate between those with low-level conditions and those with high-level conditions. Hello, I have ADHD, I would like 50k a year and a BMW X5. Is how it works according to people like Helen? Literally 100%. That's exactly how they think about it. Also, anxiety includes people with PTSD who couldn't even leave the house. I mean, it'll be interesting to see just how many military veterans that these people pretend to care so much about that would be hit by these cuts in terms of eligibility for sickness benefits, right? Lots of people who've been in the military have things like anxiety and PTSD. That's the reality of going into combat zones. I wonder whether or not that these people will be prioritized when it comes to how they're going to cut the eligibility for things like disability welfare.
At the moment, that's enough for a whole family's benefits to be uncapped, and we will toughen up the cap. If there's an adult in the household who could be working but isn't, they will no longer escape the cap.
So basically what this means
She is
is that
indefinite,
you might have your
she is.
cap cut, because even though your personal living requirements require you to have loads of additional costs, if you're married to somebody who is eligible to work, that means you might have your welfare cut based upon that cap, even though what you're receiving is disability. That's what she's implying here. That somehow this means that disabled people will be discouraged from being in a relationship or cohabiting with people who are not disabled in the worry that they might lose their welfare, which should involve people who they're supposed to be caring for them because of their fucking disability. This is crazy.
Under Labour, the welfare bill is ballooning.
It's ballooning because of the triple lock. The projected overall GDP spend on welfare shows that the biggest increase is coming from welfare for pensioners, and the largest cohort within that are going to be pensioners. The idea that somehow this is because of huge swathes of people on disability, there's obviously slightly more here than there is in Europe, and I think that we need to have better investment in the healthcare service to be able to get more people healthy again. But the idea that somehow the biggest burden on the welfare state is the disabled and people claiming sickness, rather than the massive fucking pensions bill, is, again, just abject nonsense. I'm not even saying cut pensions, I'm saying get rid of the triple lock.
On his watch, for the first time ever, we are now spending more on welfare than we earn in income tax.
It's because we have an aging population, Kemi. This is why we spend more on welfare than we take in income tax. Is because the working age population has shrunk and the retiree population has ballooned. That's what happens when you don't have any methods of fixing an aging population. This is what happens when you have years and years and years of don't have kids if we can't afford them, can't have more children, don't get more benefits, we're going to have a two-child benefit cap, and you discourage people from having kids, and we have a birth rate through the fucking floor. This is why the welfare bill is higher than we take in income tax. There are fewer income tax payers and more people taking out a state pension.
The Conservatives already have a plan to bring down the benefits bill by 23 billion, and we will get Britain working again.
And again, just this idea that somehow, like, this huge cohort of people not working that could be working, just not true. Like, it's just not true. And even then, what jobs are they going to go into? We're seeing unemployment go up. People who are looking for jobs because they're unemployed, right? That number is increasing because the number of jobs is going down. Again, and you're expecting these people to hire a bunch of mentally ill people? You're expecting people with lots of anxiety, which, again, would be potentially debilitating, to just go out and do a job and for the companies to want to hire them? These people should understand how business works for a party that claims to be on the side of business, right? Not only is she stupid, not only is she, like, literally the dumbest MP in Parliament, like actual troglodyte, double-digit potato IQ, she's also a monster. She's also an evil fucking monster. Again, because these people are either so posh that they have been able to waltz into any job they want because of mummy and daddy, right? Or they're so old that they live in a world in which you could hand in a CV and get a job the same day, right? They don't realise what it's actually like living in the UK in 2026 and engaging in the job market where people have their CVs rejected by fucking AI, right? You've been watching a clip from one of my live streams. I do them 5 days a week. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and ring the bell down below to be ensured that you get notified whenever I post new videos and indeed when I go live as well. If you want to support the channel in a more long-term fashion, you can hit the join button down below to become a member. It's 99p and cheaper than a can of Red Stripe. And if you want to become a long-term supporter, you can also do so on Patreon. That's patreon.com/NoJusticeMTG. I'll see you on the next one.
Oh, hang on. Hang on, I can't quite make out your question there. Or your name. Oh. Grabbing Cabbage. That is a cool name. Hello, Grabbing Cabbage. I am Katie Marshall 4340 on the YouTubes. I'm a Scottish disabled Marxist streamer. I talk about health and disability issues and benefits of social security or welfare if you wish. The elections, so there's one here in Scotland, one down in the Senedd in Wales, and there's loads of local elections. The voting is on Thursday, so literally tomorrow. Polls open at 7 a.m. They close at 10 p.m. So they're literally in a day. Terrifying. But yes, they are upon us. So I have been covering the Scottish part of this because Scottish. That was No Justice MTG or Helena, if you wish. She does that there Novara on Thursday night. I stream 4 or 5 days a week, depending on how my health is. I am disabled. So yes, you have came in at a rather awkward time because I'm just about to raid out. I usually stream for 3 hours, which I've managed to do tonight. I'm feeling kind of dizzy. I was wearing my compression socks because of the pill form of my HRT that I take. My blood is clotting quite badly. I got hospitalised last year. I had massive fucking blood clots on my lungs. Fun. I was in hospital for 13 days. Marjorie Taylor Greene is on Novara. Pepsi Scrolls. You are also disabled, but you still work sometimes. Welcome in, fellow disabled. So I have autoimmune disease. I've got autoimmune conditions. I have arthritis and osteoporosis. Ehlers-Danlos, or EDS if you wish. I have one X chromosome, so that might be impacting me as well. Well, it does. Oh, don't worry, Pepsi Scrolls. I have known for over 30 years. Mind you, in saying that, the Ehlers-Danlos only got diagnosed 3 years ago. It took them 34 years to get me diagnosed with that one. Like turnaround time. But yes. Hang on, I'll come back out. How many people have I got here? I have 15 people watching me. So people still stayed on from the raid. Thank you so much, everyone. got a brain thing. Oh, no problem. You don't need to see, you don't need to trauma dump like I do. Mind you, in saying that, I do that so I can educate people about autoimmune diseases. It is always good to explain what it's like being disabled and what it's like living here. It sucks. Scotland is better. Scotland is marginally better than the rest of the UK. Here. I do not like my Westminster government. They can go and do one. But yes, I can't read out on YouTube yet because I've only got 163 subscribers. I need 1,000. I'm getting there, I guess. No. So I will read out on Twitch and just end the stream. I do apologise, my YouTube comrades. I will get to 1,000, hopefully. So I'm currently 47. Hopefully I'll get my 1,000 subscribers before I'm 50. Keep your fingers crossed for your lass. But yes, let us read out. My son, father, Canadian, Canadian, when parkours, Nabil, Rathbone, Water Porch, some random geek. Okay, support. No! Oh, 30s has changed. So, I check one of my favourite streamers who is called Xertes. He was playing his favourite, the first Hollow Knight, but he's changed over, so he's a key mailer, whatever that is. He's explained it to me. I understand. So he's playing something else called Warped Universe. Let's go and see what Warped Universe is like, shall we? Sorry, my YouTube comrades, I'll just say that again. I will not be, I repeat, I will not be streaming on Wednesday night at roughly, roughly 11ish. I usually stream on a Wednesday. I will not be, because the local elections in England will be starting to get counted at 10 PM on Thursday. You're welcome, Davinia, my dear. Always a pleasure, darling. Always a pleasure. So, hang on, I'll just go and see if there's anyone else. The burb, the doodles. Open one. Let's go and say hi to Xertes, shall we? Go. Start to read. Thank you, everyone. Stay hydrated. Self-care is good care. Take your meds if you need to take any, like I do. Stay based. Free Palestine. Go and vote. I demand you go and vote. No. I will see if I will be covering the local elections on Thursday, so watch this space. I will announce in the Discord. Don't you worry. So, oh yes, I'll say before we go over to Xertes, I will be voting SNP in the constituency where I currently live, and Scottish Greens on the regional list. 30s. Thank you, everyone. I will return. You are guaranteed, I repeat, guaranteed, to get your lass on Friday morning, 9 AM. Watch this space. Love yous all. Bye bye.
Mad Cat and Raiders, I hope you're all doing well. For those that don't know, my name is Xertes. I play a variety of